Hello, everyone, and welcome to RBCM at Home. My name is Kim Goff, and I'm a learning program developer at the Royal BC Museum. Today, I'm coming to you from my office, which is located on the territories of the Lekwungen, also known as the Songhees and the Esquimalt First Nations in Victoria, British Columbia. I extend my appreciation to live and work on this beautiful territory, and I encourage all of you to consider the traditional territory of whose land you are on today, wherever you are. RBCM at Home began a year ago when the museums and archives was closed due to the pandemic. Now that we're reopened, it continues as a way to stay connected with research and events at the museum and around the province. And today we're heading east from Victoria towards the Rocky Mountains in the Columbia Valley to the town of Golden. I am going to stop sharing here so I can introduce you to our guest today. Our guest is Brittany Newman, and as I mentioned, she's at the Golden Museum. Brittany first started working at the museum part-time many years ago as a camp coordinator, and for the last year, she's been training to become the museum manager under the guidance of the museum's current executive director, Colleen Palumbo. The Golden Museum reopened in June, and it's looking forward to hosting their first traveling exhibit this fall. So welcome, Brittany.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Yeah,
I would like to begin, first of all, by saying that the Golden Museum and the communities we serve sit on the territory of the Ktunaxa Nation. The Ktunaxa have shared their territory historically with many First people. Most notably is the Sesempwek people. I'm sorry, I probably butchered that. It's very difficult for me to say so far. I'm still learning how to pronounce it. And we are proud and honored to be able to live, work, and play in this territory. So
thank you so much for that. Sesempwek. I will look that up as well. Thank you for sharing that. So what else, so other than the beautiful territory, what else can you tell us about Golden, just to give people a picture of where they are today?
So we're nestled in the Columbia Valley on the Trans-Canada Highway between Revelstoke and the BC-Alberta border. So we're about, if you're coming to us from Calgary, we're about 3 hours west of you on the Trans-Canada Highway. And if you're coming to us from Vancouver, we're about 8 hours east of you, just closer to the Alberta border than you guys are in BC. So yeah. And our community is surrounded by several different mountain ranges. We are smack dab in the middle of the Rocky Mountains, and it is beautiful here.
Oh, yes, an enviable location. Well, and you are going to take us on a tour today of your beautiful facility. So without further ado from me, I will turn it over to you, and we'll highlight your videos as well.
Okay, I'm gonna see if I can figure out how to change over my screen here. I think it's this button. Can everybody see our door? A wonderful door.
We got it, thank you.
Okay, I'm just gonna start by coming outside here and I'll show you the front of our building. So this is the Golden Museum here, and I'm sorry, it's gonna be a little blurry for a second. So this is our wonderful building. It's very interestingly shaped. It's in two Quonset buildings shoved together. So it's a long wind tunnel pretty much. And it's a little noisy out here. All right. And so when we walk in the door, this is kind of our gift shop area. We've got a lot of local vendors sell their stuff here. So we kind of have a gift shop and everything like that. And yeah, so the Golden Museum was started in 1974, the doors opened, and we've been collecting local history ever since. So we kind of have, sorry, I'm a little nervous, so I might, yeah. So I should let everyone know before we start our tour that our gallery has been a little rearranged due to COVID. So it's not normally set up like this, but and things are a little bit out of order, but it all kind of makes sense. It's just, we want to keep people safe. So we've got our arrows on the floor and everyone's kind of traveling in one direction. So yeah, so we also have a couple of things that today at the museum, you'll see we are replacing some panels. So we recently got some new vinyl, and unfortunately it has fallen down. So you'll kind of see some empty spots here. And then, yeah, but I'll start with a walk through our gallery. So we have some, we have our territorial acknowledgement, and we have our lovely printer press that came from Chicago. Got shipped here after the Chicago fire, and we printed the Golden Star on this for many, many years. And it is a big, big machine. So it is a permanent exhibit here on the museum. We actually had to remove a wall in order to get it in here.
It is huge. Brittany, does it work?
It does work, but as anyone knows, if they've tried to print anything on machines like this, you have to put all of the letters in backwards. Right. So that it comes up frontwards. So, and you have to put them all in individually. So it is a bit of a pain in the butt to print things on it. We tried it once, and all of the P's ended up being put in backwards. So it did not come out very well. So we do not use it.
I've heard that phrase, mind your P's and Q's, comes from printing machines like this one. You had to be careful not to put them in backwards.
Yeah, or else your P's come out as Q's. Yeah, so that's kind of one of our pretty much the biggest thing you see when you walk into the museum is that. And yeah, we had to remove a piece of wall in order to get it in here. We'll start kind of with our main, one of the things that I really wanted to talk about is that we have this beautiful exhibit on the first merchant of golden. His name was Baptiste Morgeau. He was a Métis merchant. I'm sorry, the iPad's a little wiggly here. And this is actually him right here. This is Baptiste Morgeau. So we worked with the Métis Society and some of his descendants to put together this exhibit on Baptiste Morgeau. So ultimately, we kind of we did a bunch of research on this. We talked to a bunch of people, and we found out that it was pretty amazing what him and his wife, this is his wife, Teresa Kai. Him and his wife had 13 children, but before Baptiste got married to Teresa, he actually had another wife, and her name was Colette Kimbasket, and she died pretty suddenly. So when he found out that his wife had died, he was like, well, I have 3 little kids at home. I need to find myself a new wife. So he jumped on his horse and he rode down to the St. Eugene's Mission and said, my wife has died. I have 3 little kids at home. I need a wife. So there he met Teresa Kai, and he married her pretty much on the spot. Over their marriage, they had 12 children. So he had his 3 children with Colette Kimbasket, and then he had 12 children with Teresa Kai. So at any given time, they probably had at least 10 children at home, which is pretty amazing when you consider all of the things that they had to do to take care of their kids. Because, when you had kids back then, you couldn't just go to the grocery store and buy them food. You couldn't go to the grocery store and buy them clothes, especially when there was 15 of them. That would be way too expensive. So Teresa was in charge of clothing her children. So we've actually got a example of a moccasin in here. So this moccasin right here.
The white one. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the white one. That is an adult sized moccasin. So you could get, out of a full size mule deer's hide, you could get 2 pairs of adult moccasins and 1 pair of children's moccasins. And you had to replace them every 6 months. So, and she made all of them by hand for her children. So you could imagine when you have, even if they had, 10 out of 15 of their children at home, she'd be making a lot of moccasins. It would take a lot of deer hide and a lot of sinew and stuff like that to make the moccasins to keep her kids in shoes.
Brittany, Celine on Facebook is wondering, did all 15 of the children survive?
Yes, they all survived.
Wow.
So yeah, so they all ended up surviving. It was it's pretty impressive. But they were not they did not wander very much. Like Teresa Kai and Baptiste Mourgeot set up, they bought a piece of land, they set up a farm, they didn't drag their children all over the place. So it was a lot easier for them to make sure that their children were safe and their children, weren't getting sick and stuff like that. And Teresa Kai had a lot of knowledge from, I forgot to mention that she is a member of the First Peoples. I think she's Swempnik, but now I'm double guessing myself that. But anyway, she is a member of the First Peoples. So she has a lot of knowledge about their medicine, a lot of knowledge about all the stuff that you need to keep your children alive. So it is pretty amazing that all of her children survived, and all of their all 15 of them actually survived. So, but yeah, she kept her kids alive, and she kept them fed, and she kept them healthy with the medicine that would have been in her medicine bag. So we actually have some examples of what would have been in her medicine bag. Like this right here is a puffball. So puffballs, I'm sure a lot of you know, are mushrooms. So she would have made all of her medicine from her own herbs and stuff that she foraged from the forest. So with this particular one, this puffball, it is in a coagulant. So it helps your blood clot. When we set this exhibit up, we had a Métis man come in and help us source all of the items that are in this exhibit, all the medicines. And then we actually went to the drugstore and talked to somebody at the drugstore and got them to give us a list of all of the modern medicines that these would have been alternatives for. So this one is an alternative for this is tranexamic acid. I cannot pronounce that. But it pretty much, when you put it on a wound, it seals the wound, it stops it from bleeding. It helps you create blood clots. It is also, the puffball is also highly dangerous when it is dry. You shouldn't inhale it because it will give you blood clots in your lungs. So yeah, so it's one of the things she would have kept in her medicine bag though, to stop people from, bleeding too much if they got cut. And yeah, and then another thing that we have in here is we have wild sage. So I'm sure a lot of you know about the medical uses for wild sage and whatnot. She would have had this she would have had this included in her medicine bag to treat colds and coughs, fevers, and in like stomach flus and stuff like that. So it helps eliminate spasms of your intestines and your GI tract. So these would be, you could easily replace these in modern day medicine with cough medicines, acetaminophen, that sort of stuff. Pepto-Bismol. And then also it was also used if you crushed the leaves and you rubbed it on yourself or you burned them, it would keep the mosquitoes away. So it's an alternative to DEET as well.
And it smells a lot better.
It does. It smells a lot better. They also used to burn it to keep away bad spirits and all that sort of stuff. So, and then we have burdock root. I'm sure that all of you know what burdock is, but if you don't, it's that nasty, nasty plant that looks a little bit like rhubarb, but has those big burrs that get stuck to you and are terrible to get out of your dog's clothes or out of your dog's fur. So for this, it was actually pretty useful. They they made a tea out of the root, and it helps reduce swelling and arthritis. So it's also a really, really good blood purifier. And so it's stuff that we would use today would be ibuprofen and osteoarthritis medicine and acetaminophen. So yeah, if you ever, get stuck out in the wild and your joints are aching, dig up some burdock and make a tea out of it. You might feel a little better. This one here is yarrow. So yarrow is, it's kind of a weed here. We see it a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of times it grows in your grass when you don't want it to. It's fairly common everywhere. And, you could chew up the fresh flowers to create a paste and put it over stings, cuts, and sores. And it is like the modern day equivalent of polysporin. Yeah.
I just saw some yarrow this morning when I was coming into work. I saw some blooming already.
Oh, nice. Yeah, we don't have anything blooming here yet, or I don't even think our grass is green yet, unfortunately. However, we do have most of our snow gone, which is pretty exciting. So this here is Labrador tea, and it was made into a tea to treat stomach flu, and as well as pneumonia and urinary tract infections and stuff like that. If you had difficulty going to the bathroom, it would help you. So, a lot of times it can be replaced by moxifloxacin, which is an antibiotic. And, a lot of other things that you would use antibiotics for. And yeah.
Labrador tea is something I've seen at the health food store, and it's delicious.
It is delicious. And this one here is spruce gum. So if you chewed it or placed it in hot water, it would help you relieve a cold, similar to like if you were to breathe in steam and eucalyptus. So it's like Buckley's or Robitussin or Benylin. And if you chewed the gum and applied it to cuts, it promotes healing. So it's also like polysporin. And it's also used as resin for Métis fiddlers when they on their bows. So yeah. And then this one, of course, is willow bark, which is used for treating headaches. And it's acetamin or ibuprofen is something that we would use today instead. And our juniper berries, which the green berries were boiled to make a remedy for kidney ailments. The only thing I really know that they use juniper berries in today is gin.
Gin, yes, a secret ingredient.
Not
so secret.
Yeah, but if you were to buy something at the grocery store or whatever to help you with your kidney ailments, it'd usually be cranberry juice, or if you were to get antibiotics for it, it'd be like ciprofloxacin. So yeah, those are the kind of the things that the community has helped us build this display for, and we got a lot of input from the Métis Society for this. So and of course, Baptiste Majot's family, we have a couple of people in town that are related to him. So, yeah.
Well, it's such important traditional knowledge, and really it talks about that close relationship to the land, doesn't it? We should probably give a disclaimer, Brittany, that although the advice and information is so thorough, no one should take this as medical advice from us.
Oh, yes, absolutely. We are not medical professionals. So if you have something wrong with you and you are having severe headaches or anything like that, please go see your medical professional. Do not take the advice that's in, or do not take these this medical advice, as to be something that you would live by, because we are obviously not medical professionals. So.
But it's such an interesting field and so much good information. Oh, I see some of Ceinture Fléchée. That's beautiful.
Yeah. So another thing that we got the Métis Society in Golden to work on us with is we have a big Métis display from them that they helped us create. So we talked to them and we got them to tell us what they want. They thought that the that visitors to Golden would need to know about the Métis. So we have things like, we have a fiddle and spoons. We have some beautiful, beautiful gauntlets and a vest and a belt and one of their sashes. And then we got them to tell us a little bit about why these things were important. So I'm not sure if any of you know this, but Métis beading, they, the First Nations people had beading on their clothes and stuff like that, but Métis introduced the idea of beaded flowers to the clothing. And that's as like a respectful nod or way to celebrate their European ancestry. So they would have, European women often wear flowers on their dresses and stuff like that. The Métis women would bead flowers onto their dresses, bead flowers onto their ceremonial garbs and their stuff that they would wear for, for special occasions, as a way to pretty much say, hey, this is part of my heritage as well. So yeah, so if you ever look at, stuff that came from Métis, a lot of times their beaded work will have flowers in it. They also were extremely, extremely musically inclined. They loved to play the fiddle and dance, and their culture is kind of defined by music. And by their language and traditions as well, that have all been passed down from generation to generation. So yeah, none of these traditions, I guess, are more well known than the Red River Jig, which is a characteristic dance of the Métis people. So they really enjoyed dancing. They really enjoyed playing the fiddle. So we have a fiddle in our collection as a part of that. Yeah,
very
and
nice.
then,
If people want to go down a YouTube rabbit hole, they can look up Red River Jigging on YouTube, and you'll see some beautiful dancing.
Yeah, I think we have a picture of that right over here. We'll just make a detour.
Oh, nice.
So our local Métis Society, every once in a while, will put on a demonstration of the Red River Jig and their dances and stuff like that. So we're pretty lucky. We have a really good relationship with a bunch of the different communities in our in Golden in the area. So the Métis Society is one of them. We also have really good relationship with our local Sikh community, and we always want to include them in any sort of include their input in any sort of exhibit that we do here. So so there's the other thing that the Métis really wanted, so there's a lot of things the Métis really wanted to be included in this this display, but one of the things that they felt was really important for people to know is that the Métis flag is actually older than the Canadian flag. So when we had our first, we had a couple of different flags before we settled on the flag that we have now, but the Métis is actually older than the flag that we use now. So
can you show us that flag? It's the blue flag with the white figure 8 symbol. Oh, great.
Yeah, the blue flag with the infinity symbol in it. So
yeah, I guess the Canadian flag was Lester Pearson. That was maybe in the 60s. Oh, see, now I shouldn't have put a date out there, because if you know the date of when our current Canadian flag was designed, you can pop it in the chat. Leanne is asking in the chat, is there a large Métis community currently in Golden?
We have a fairly large Métis community in Golden. I'm not sure the exact numbers, but it is big enough that they regularly do events and make sure that their presence is known in the community. We actually have a Métis Society in Golden. It's let me make sure I get their name right. It's the Métis Nation Columbia River Society. It's in Golden. So they're the people we always we always collaborate with wherever we're doing Métis Métis exhibits, or whenever we're doing any events that we want to make sure that we're highlighting the Métis community. And then on top of that, some of their members even sit on our board. So we have a great relationship with them, and they do a lot in our community.
So that flag's 150 years old, and the current Canadian flag was introduced in 1965. So
wow,
it's much older.
Much older. Yeah. So anyway, we will move on from this. Does anyone have any questions before I move on?
No, we're good. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, so a lot of the stuff. So we also have a First Nations exhibit, but as you can see, this is where our vinyl failed. So half of our panels have peeled off, unfortunately. We're hoping to get it replaced in the next week or so. So sometimes failures happen, even in museums, things fall down. So
yes, one of our exhibit technicians, Cindy, she says, adhesives always fail. So if you're putting anything up that's in a vinyl or with glue, she said it always fails. So
yeah, well, and this is the first time we've ever actually had anything fall off of our walls that was the vinyl. We actually just got they're brand new vinyl panels. We got them installed last week. And I guess the vinyl just isn't as sticky as it normally is or something. So our vinyl guy is going to come back and fix them for us. But yeah, so sometimes we have, little cases of curiosities like these ones while we're waiting to develop more cohesive displays to put in them.
Oh, that's great. So it's like a little snapshot.
Yeah, so they're pretty easy to throw together, and they at the same time they highlight some little pieces of history that from our collection that people might never actually get to see if we don't do this. And they're, while we're waiting for a more informational display or something to go in these things, while we're developing those, we put together these things because there's no point in having empty space sitting in the museum when we have a very large collection that we can showcase. So
yeah, that's so important. Now, Brittany, we are getting towards the end of our session. Is there another key piece you'd like to show us before we wrap up?
Yes, I will for sure. So just a quick point out on this this little model here. We actually have the full-size building behind our building. This is our train station. So we have the second original Golden train station in behind our building here. But yeah, I'm just going to take you through a quick walk here. This is the rest of our museum, and I'm sorry, time seems to have gotten away from me.
Oh, no, well, it was so interesting. It happens, and a half hour goes very quickly.
Yeah, so I did see a question going on that popped up here about how Golden got its name. So Golden was originally called McMillan's Camp, and when the CPR came through here, we established a town in here. And sorry, that room is echoey. We established a town here, and they called it McMillan's Camp. And then another camp a little further up the road by Castle Mountain, they called their camp Carlin's Camp, and they changed their name to Silver City. So Golden changed its name to Golden, from McMillan's Camp to Golden, in order to attract more people here. So that's how Golden got its name.
Oh, great.
So this is just our Sikh exhibit, and I'll just kind of go through this real quick. So like I said before, we have a really good relationship with the Sikh community in Golden as well. So Golden has the earliest known Sikh temple in North America. So it was not the first built temple in North America, but it was the first temple that was established in North America. So the Sikh people came to Golden in about 1902. And just to put that in perspective, Golden was established in 1884. So they were here about 20 years after Golden was established. And they came to work for the Columbia River Lumber Company. The first couple people that came to work for the Columbia River Lumber Company, realized that they had such a good work ethic and they were really strong. So they sent people down to Vancouver to get these people when they were coming into the country and to entice them to come to Golden to work for them. So they, after they had a large amount of Sikh people in Golden, they realized that there was no place for them to, to observe their religion and to get their religious needs met. So they brought in a pastor from Vancouver, or a reverend from Vancouver, who had worked in Trinidad as a missionary and had worked with South Asian people before. And until they established their Sikh temple, he allowed them to come into his church and perform their religious ceremonies and their and worship using the church as their space. And if they ever wanted to come to his sermons to get, their spiritual needs met or whatever, he saved a front pew for them. And then the Sikh people eventually got a building from the Columbia River Lumber Company and set their own Sikh temple up on the lumber company's thing. And so we had the first Sikh temple in North America.
That's a lovely history. That's really great.
Yeah.
Leanne is asking here, she said, it sounds like Golden is a very diverse community. What is the current total population?
The current population of Golden is just over 3,700 people. And that's just the town of Golden. We have probably about 12,000 people in the outerlying communities. Our area A reaches to almost to Revelstoke and then down almost to Radium and out to Field. So it's about 45 minutes in every direction around Golden is our area. So yeah.
Great. And there's a question about the Sikh temple. Margaret's asking, is it like the Golden Temple in Amritsar? I don't imagine it was very elaborate, or was it?
No. So the picture that you saw on the back wall is the Golden Temple. That's we just wanted to have that up there as a nod towards the Sikh heritage. When we talked to them, to the people that helped us put this exhibit together in the community, they thought it would be a great idea. We did too, because not a lot of people know about the Sikh religion. But the temple that was here in Golden, the first temple that they established was actually set up in an old dairy building. So the Columbia River Logging Company had like this big barn structure. They weren't using it. They said that their Sikh employees could use it and create a temple of worship in it. So that's how they got their first temple.
Great, that explains it. Margaret's saying yes, that explains it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Brittany, we're almost at the close.
Of time. Yeah. So I guess we got about halfway through the Golden Museum, but that just means that, sorry, I'm gonna switch my thing around. That just means that there is more for you guys to see when you come and visit Golden. So hopefully it gives you a reason to come and visit us.
Exactly, a wonderful reason to see more and to find out more about your museum and the community and the history that's there. Brittany, thank you so much for sharing all of this information today. I'm definitely intrigued to learn more about plant usage and also to find out more about the Sikh community's history in your region. It sounds like you've got a great relationship with your community, and it's a great sign of the role of your museum there. And all the best to you. You told me you are getting a feature exhibition this fall. Do you want to say anything about it?
Yes. So we've actually, going back to our relationship with the community, we've partnered up with our local Wild Sites nonprofit here in Golden, which is an environmental nonprofit. We're bringing in a traveling exhibit from Kelowna called The Social Life of Water. And we've partnered up with Wild Site. They're going to provide some speakers for us. So we're going to have the exhibit on site, and we're also going to have some locals talking about water usage and the relationship that people have with water in our valley. So yeah, that is gonna, we get the exhibit in here in the beginning of November, and it's gonna run until the middle of December. So.
Excellent, that's great. Well, hopefully people will be able to travel and be able to come by and see that. So again, thank you, Brittany, and thank you everyone who joined us. If you joined us late or you missed something and you want to go back, this has been recorded and you will be able to find it on the Royal BC Museum's YouTube channel and on Golden's YouTube channel. So please have a look there. The Royal BC Museum has reopened and we are ready to welcome you back. You can find out more on our website about time, tickets, and exhibits, including opening on April the 16th, our newest feature exhibition, Orcas, Our Shared Future. We will be continuing our at-home kids, and at outside for the foreseeable future, and links for all of these programs are going to be posted on our website. I hope you'll join us next week, April the 6th, when John Reynolds will be my guest. He's from Simon Fraser University, and he'll be here to talk about citizen science. I hope you'll join us then. Until then, take care of yourselves and one another. Bye-bye, everyone.